Hey, Chapel and Rutledge, look who I've got today. I've got Curious George. We're going to read one of my favorite books. I love Curious George books, and I hope you'll enjoy this one. This one is Curious George Goes Hiking. Now I know how much you and Chapel, you and Rutledge love being outside and playing and seeing things in your yard, and when you're riding your bike, Chapel, and Rutledge is pushing his dump trucks, you all find birds and all kinds of interesting things. That's like when you're going hiking. It's like an adventure. All right, let's read about Curious George and his hike. Here he is with the man in the yellow hat, and the man has driven George up to meet his friends Ted and Susie. And today they're going on a hike, and there Ted and Susie all ready to meet George. And the man in the yellow hat says, I'll pick you up a little bit later, George, and I don't get into trouble. Wonder what he means by that, because we know that George can get into things sometimes, don't we? George, you carry this bag of marshmallows, said Susie. And Susie has a thermos here. What do you think's in the thermos? Maybe water for when they're going to drink, when they eat their marshmallows. They might need something to drink, right? Let's go, said Ted, and they started down the trail. Ted's leading the way, and he has a backpack on his back. I wonder what he's got in his backpack. Maybe a camera to take some pictures, or some binoculars to see a picture, an animal up closer. Oh, and look over here, whispered Ted. There's a cardinal. See the red bird? Now, when you see a red bird like that, you know it's a boy cardinal. The boy cardinals have the beautiful red feathers. The cardinal landed on a rock, and George tiptoed so he could get up a little bit closer to get a better look at the cardinal. But look at this stick that was right in his way, and when he got up closer to see the cardinal, he tripped over the stick, and he dropped the bag of marshmallows that he was carrying. Oh my goodness. The bag hit a sharp rock and split wide open. Oh my goodness, can you see that tear in the bag? Come on, George, we're waiting for you, Susie shouted. They're in a hurry to get on their hike, aren't they? George picked up the bag of marshmallows and hurried to catch up with his friends. And not far down the trail, they saw a deer. Look, Ted called. It looks like the deer saw them, too. You think the deer will stand still long enough for them to go up and get close to him? Doesn't look like it, does it? Look, the three of them ran after the deer. George did not notice the rip in the bag. He was carrying the bag of marshmallows, but he didn't see that it had ripped. While Ted, Susie, and George ran through the woods, the marshmallows fell out one by one. Can you see right here? Here they are running through the woods to try to catch the deer. Look, marshmallows all along the path that they had just been walking on. They chased the deer across a little brook, but the deer was way too fast for them. He ran through the brook and across the brook. I'm tired, said Ted. Let's stop. So they didn't follow the deer across the brook, did they? They would have gotten their feet wet, wouldn't they? I'm hungry, said Susie. Let's eat the marshmallows. Let me have the bag, George, said Ted. George handed the bag to Ted, but guess what? Do you think there were marshmallows in the bag? The bag was empty. Not a single marshmallow was left in the bag. Ted was angry. Look what you've done, he shouted. Now we have nothing to eat. Oh dear, George started to cry. We'd better take you home, said Susie. Does anyone know where we are? Asked Ted. They had chased the deer so far that they had lost their way. They were so busy running after the deer, they didn't know where they had, how far they had run. Ted and Susie were scared. It's getting late, said Ted. "What are we going to do?" cried Susie. "We're lost." But George knew what to do. He took Ted and Susie by the hand. What do you think he's going to do? He has an idea. Let's see what it is. And he led them along the path of the spilled marshmallows. "We can follow the marshmallows right back to where we came from," Ted said. "And look, there on the path, as they follow along, can you see? There's kind of little, but maybe you can see the marshmallows, just one right after the other, just as they had fallen out of the bag." And that's what they did, all the way back to where the man in the yellow hat was waiting for them. I'm sure they were glad to see him, aren't you? "I'm so glad to see you," and he's glad to see them. He said, "I was worried." I guess they'd been gone so long and he'd been waiting. He didn't know where they were. "We were lost," said Susie, "but George saved the day." "Good for you, George," said the man. "Let's celebrate." I wonder how they're going to celebrate. He says, "We'll toast another bag of marshmallows in our fireplace at home." Oh my, what a good idea. They lost all the marshmallows on their hike, but look, now they're back in the house, and they built a fire. And oh, look at that bowl of marshmallows they've got there. That's a lot of marshmallows, isn't it? And they've each got a stick. Put the marshmallows on the stick and put them over the fire. And the marshmallows melt a little bit, and they get kind of soft and gooey and turn a little bit brown from the fire. And oh, are they yummy to taste. They look like they're having a good party, don't they? That's quite a celebration. So the day had a good ending because George remembered exactly how to find the way back by following the trail of marshmallows. Wasn't that a good book? It's a great book. We'll have to read another Curious George book one day.